I hung the sheets out on the lines, feeling the spring breeze warm and cozy. The sunlight was welcome after a dark winter. The silo had no insulation, practically becoming a freezer by late autumn until it thawed out mid-spring. Spring was my favourite time of year. The flowers perfumed the air, the silo warmed up, and I enjoyed watching butterflies and kittens and listening to the birdsong in the forest. Life woke up, and the energy of it rejuvenated me. I looked across the grass, my eyes following the jogging path, and found an old friend. I walked over to meet her. "Hey, you, back again?" The cat must be quite old by now. She visited once or twice a year ever since I came here. She purred and happily rubbed her head against my hand. "You're never scared of me." How I appreciated that. She meowed, leaned her front paws against my knees as she stretched up and booped her nose on mine, making me smile. I spent a few minutes scratching behind her ears, her paws kneading my knees. She suddenly pushed away, narrowing her eyes as she looked behind me. Layla and some of her sycophantic posse were giggling as they crossed the lawn. I stayed kneeling down in the tall grass until Layla was out of sight. The cat sniffed and trotted away. "See you next time," I called after her as quietly as possible. I thought I heard a meow and decided it was her response. First Reed, now the cat. It really was going to be the best day. I couldn't help but feel an expectation grow in me as the flower moon ceremony loomed closer. Tonight, I could become more than a halfling. Tonight, I will become part of the pack. The alpha stood up for the evening toast.
Tonight is the sacred moon ceremony. The flower moon rises in an hour. Those of you who are still not in control of the change, you'll have to lock yourselves in your room. Tonight's ladies' night, the forest, will belong to them. As this will be their first full change, I only have one thing to say to them. Run wild.
The girls whooped. He grinned.
Blessed are those whose wolves run free. Blessed again are those on whom the goddess leaves her mark. To the moon, to the pack.
After the toast, the female elders got up and left to prepare the ceremony. I was pulled to help by Elder Agnes, which surprised me. I wanted to ask her if there had been a mistake, but her dislike for me was obvious. She shoved a tray into my arms and quickly headed out, expecting me to follow. I obediently carried the tray of wreaths and counted them as I walked. My heart sank. They didn't count me. I wasn't participating in the ceremony, just watching again. But no, I told myself. Even if I wasn't naked and crowned with spruce, the moon would never forget me. She would surely turn me, too. I kept hoping as I prepared the clearing with white flower petals, until Elder Agnes clicked her tongue and gestured to me to get out of the way. I meekly stood behind the elders as the girls lined up. They wore white ceremonial robes made of light, flowy gossamer held closed by their hands. Layla gave me a smirk, and I looked down. She could see my anxiety. The girls formed a semicircle, standing barefoot on the grass and petals. The elders stood at the edge of the forest. Their job was to make sure that the new wolves would be safe while they got their bearings. Most blacked out during their first change from fear or anxiety, their wolves taking over in wild abandon. The elders would keep them within territory until the girls regained their senses. Sarah kept glancing at Celeste, who was actively ignoring her. I knew why. As a servant, you get to know a lot about the people you serve, even if nobody talks to you directly. The other girls stood between Layla and Sarah on either end. They all looked beautiful, gossamer robes glowing in the night, and their hair down in their natural state. The elder women took a spruce crown from the tray I held, and each set it upon the girls' heads. Elder Agnes started.
The moon blessing frees your wolf under her watchful light. May you run wild and free into the magic of the night.
Then Elder Anne spoke.
The moon blessing frees your wolf under her watchful light. May you run wild and free into the magic of the night.
Elder Lisa smiled her kindly aunt-type smile.
Some of you will receive a moon gift. This is not a gift for pride. This is a gift of service, a unique gift tailored for the success of the entire pack.
The excitement was palpable, especially from Celeste and Layla, who grinned in anticipation of being chosen. All the elders spoke in unison.
Let her light bless you. Listen to her guidance. Follow her call.
The elders stepped back to the forest line. The first rays of the moon poured through the branches. The girls dropped their cloaks, arms out and face forward, bathing themselves in moonlight. My heart raced. It was now or never. Layla and Sarah gasped. They reacted as the moon gift was seared into their skin. Layla gazed adoringly at the glowing crescent on the palm of her right hand. Sarah touched the moon behind her right ear. Celeste's smile dropped. The other girls smiled their congratulations. After a moment, all the girls looked back up at the moon, their eyes glowing like the moon itself. Without pain, they slipped into wolf form. I didn't. The wolves howled in excitement. Layla's coat was a light golden brown, lighter than the others. Sarah's shape was ever so slightly more compact. I could tell who was who, even in wolf form, as their individuality shone through. Sarah was the first to take off. The others followed her. They ran past the elders and into the forest for their first real run. It looked like Celeste was struggling a bit, her wolf figure shaking her head over and over, trying to regain her bearings. Elder Agnes sighed.
She's fighting her wolf for control when she needs to let go.
There's always one.
Elder Anne smiled. The elders laughed and, slipping into wolf form themselves, ran with the new wolves, guiding them to deeper places in the forest that none of the girls had ever been. I was alone. With shaking hands, I gathered the wreaths and cloaks. I could see the cracks and cuts on my overworked hands. There would be no healing for them, no redemption, no blessing of the wolf, no belonging. I should have known. I never heard the wolf within me. Only the moon spoke to me. I had hoped, so hoped, that my strangeness would resolve itself tonight. With a loud thump, my heart started up again, and I dragged in air, my dry lips stinging. I had held my breath without realizing. The sharpness of the night air hurt my body. I dropped everything and fell to my knees. For the first time since arriving here, I cried. I had stayed brave when the other children hated me. I believed in myself when no wolf came forth in my mind. I never let the worst of the bullying make me cry. What for? I was nothing but broken. I had been broken all along. It was stupid of me to hope. I looked up at the moon. Normally I would find this to be a treat, since I rarely got to see the moon directly, having to be back in my room after dinner, but this time I was filled with anger. "Why?" I whispered, my chest so tight I was unable to shout. The moon did not answer right away.
I see you. Hush, I know your place. Hush, I know your place.
Am I not worthy? I am devoted to you. I pray to you. I swear by you. It is your light that keeps me strong. What more can I do to show you that my heart longs to be connected to yours?
Nothing. Nothing.
I felt bereft, unwelcome, unworthy. I wasn't a wolf. I paled as I realized I would be kicked out. A human couldn't live with wolves. They didn't count me. They didn't remember I was 19. As long as they didn't know I was rejected, I could keep working here. I could stay, maybe for one more year. I still had a little time to try and figure things out. Silo was better than no home. I folded the cloaks and sat the wreaths on each of them, leaving them in the semicircle for the girls to use at moonset. I went back to the tray and looked at the ring boxes. Their names were etched in gold upon the blue velvet. I set them down, knowing I would never receive a ceremonial ring. I opened one, just to see. Golden crescents facing outwards on cushion-cut moonstone. Simply beautiful. How lucky. I wobbled weakly back to my small dark silo and hid myself away.